talking about the Sacramento Kings here. Why? Well, because that's what we do. We talk about the Sacramento Kings. Sure, football's 8 days away, man, but why not? And this is I just blame the insiders because that really kind of got it just is a natural conversation about this basketball team and how to build a contender, how to win, how to see the term that Scott Perry's been using. Long-term success. Sustainable success, I believe, is the term that he used. Doug Christie used a similar term. He actually used it on a couple of occasions. Talked about it last year as well. And Jesse asked the question this morning, which I thought was a good one, because I hadn't really thought about it like this. This season, given the split camps on how this all should have been approached, given the frustration with the contracts, the makeup of the roster, all these different things. Can Doug Christie fail this year? Is there a scenario where we can step into this room and go, man, Doug failed this team?
I think it depends on your expectations of what you think of this team. And even then, because of the scenario the Kings are in, he may have a free year. If you are looking at it like I'm looking at it, I think how you're looking at it, a couple other people, that this team isn't going to be terrible. Like, this team is a team that's around 500, maybe a game or two above or below. And they come out and they win 31 games. To us, that looks like a failure. Like, there's more talent on this team, assuming everybody stayed, nobody got traded off or anything. There's more talent on this team than to win 31 games. That's unacceptable. That's how you would look at it if you think they're going to be a good team. But while saying that, there are people who don't think they're going to be a good team, who want them to be a bad team, who would not look at Doug Christie as failing if that's the case. They will look at the organization, the front office. It's their fault. They set him up for failure. He didn't fail. And that's not just because they love Doug Christie. It's because they don't look at this team as being good enough to compete. We do. So, or when I say compete, I mean play like something like that. Yeah. We do. So if you are on the under of what Vegas has for him at 35.5, yeah, Doug, I would say Doug didn't do a good job if that happened. That'd be part of the reason. It doesn't mean it's everything, but that'd be part of the reason. Doug didn't do a good job if they're in the low 30s for wins this year.
I think the only way, I think for me, you can say he truly failed at the end of the season is if we go through another year and it's like, yeah, team wasn't necessarily connected and there was no real identity established this season. Like, if we're dealing with just guys aren't together again or anything like that, like, I figured, like, he's got to. But that's his job this year, is to start building the culture. Like, I'm not going to blame Doug if this team doesn't make playoffs, because right now I got him at about 41-41 type of team. So if they're less, it's like that's a few games or whatever. And if it's more than perfect, he did his job. But I think you probably point to roster construction, the front office, and just things being kind of tough this offseason before you look at Doug and place the blame on him. On him. So I think if it's culturally and there's issues there, and it's just, like I said, just another year where guys aren't on the same page, and I think that's where it's like, maybe he failed.
I feel like that's one of the most difficult roads that Doug has to navigate, though, is the one that Jesse just laid out. The establishing culture part, like, part of it is like DeMar is a 16, 17-year vet. Like, I'd expect him to be a part of that too. And if there was if you said a single player derailed the possibility of establishing culture on the Sacramento Kings, the only one who I think is strong enough to do it is DeMar. Because DeMar is universally respected. Now, to be clear, I don't think that's a scenario that could possibly happen. I don't think that's the type of player DeMar. It's part of the reason DeMar DeRozan is universally respected. It's part of the reason that coaches, front offices, franchises talk about DeMar DeRozan the way that they do. But that culture aspect, like, I don't think while in this fictitious scenario, DeMar might be able to destroy it by himself. I don't think he can build it by himself. And it's going to be up to him and Doug, and truthfully, Domantas Sabonis too, to kind of, pave those yellow brick roads for these guys. And I don't know. I don't think I would put that on Doug if it went sour.
There was something I saw. I'm finding right now. I'm gonna try and send it to you guys so you can actually see it. It doesn't necessarily have to go up on the stream, but I saw it yesterday and I said, why can't this type of feeling happen again? Like, what would be keeping this from happening again? And what it was the Miami game at home where they came back to win. They were down 20 or something like that, came back to win in overtime. And it's like a Kings production footage of DeMar hitting that shot to kind of ice the game. And then everybody's going ecstatic. And then when the final buzzer sounds, Doug Christie meets Sabonis and Keon Ellis at half court. And remember, they have this big old embrace. They're hugging. And it was one of those things where it's like, yo, these guys are locked in. They love and respect Doug Christie. And they're playing for this guy. And I looked at that moment and I wondered, why wouldn't that happen this year?
I'm not sure it wouldn't.
And that's the thing, because we talk about just now, like, Doug not being able to galvanize these guys, not being able to get them on the same page, splintering off and all this other stuff. That's his strong suit. That's something that he was able to do the second he came in as head coach. And you got guys like Domantas Sabonis, who has a great relationship with them, with the workouts, and they've been working out together for the last 3 years or something like that. I think Keon looks at him and respects him. I think DeMar looks at him and respects. Like, all these guys look at Doug and they respect him. Why wouldn't they be able to recreate that type of feeling again? Things really went bad last year after the Fox trade. And then you can point to that being, dysfunction with the coaching staff, dysfunction in the front office, not having a point guard. Like, I think Sabonis was hurt for, a week or two. Monk went down.
Yep.
Like, you can start pointing to the downfall of that team last year to very specific things. It wasn't Doug Christie's inability to get some of these guys to play together. They even had some good wins later in the season, beating Detroit on the road, beating Cleveland on the road. There were some fundamental things, not having a point guard, not having a full coaching staff, injuries that led to them not being able to overcome those things and continue to be a winning basketball club. You start the slate clean, you start the seasons clean with guys that are playing with the coach that they look at and they respect. Why wouldn't they be able to do those things again that they had for that 15-game stretch?
I can't offer a reason as to why they couldn't. I think, and we've talked about this before. Whether you like this or not, or agree with this or not, and you're welcome to disagree with it, they got a lot of built-in excuses for what happened last year. It's part of the reason that I think they'll be more successful than some people believe, is those built-in excuses. They're all gone. Mike, getting comfortable with DeMar and trading De'Aaron, getting Levine going, injuries, although Levine having his own issues that he has to deal with, his personal issues regarding the trade, or when the trade happened, and Doug getting acclimated as a head coach, while his staff is just like whatever. Then guys are leaving. All of that's gone. All of it is gone. So those built-in excuses, the things that probably took those happy, healthy vibes that you were just talking about a second ago and turned them into what ultimately became the end of the season. Yeah, those, you don't get those excuses anymore. If that winds up happening again, there is a far bigger issue.
Right.
And it's just hard for me to believe with this. group of guys that's there. I know where I will look first, but I just don't think that it's there.
Chris in the chatty house says, I think the worry is all the guys who have been mentioned as trade pieces or not the future all off season. We're talking about one guy. We're talking about one guy. When you talk about guys who have been mentioned in trades, that I always say this, no disrespect, that matter to the equation. We're talking about one guy. We're talking about Malik Monk. Devin Carter may not even be in the rotation. Your season doesn't hinge on Devin Carter, or it shouldn't hinge on Devin Carter being bought in or not. That's what you went out and got Schroeder